Chicago lives up to its nickname, the Windy City. Winds of up to 90 miles an hour bring the less hardy to a standstill or use them like a Scotsman's curling stones.
Alley fight between Fitz and Combs. You both get to pick 3 all-time Sox and Cubs as part of your alley fight. My number 1 draft pick is Michael Barrett.
Michael Barrett, you're out of your mind.
Michael Barrett, did you see that right hook? Ask AJ Brzezinski if he wants to get hit with that right hook again.
You can ask AJ Brzezinski that.
I will.
That's such a podcast question.
Shut up. Joe Rizzo. It's in time. And the Chicago Cubs win the World Series. Uribe has it. He throws. Out! A White Sox winner and a World Championship.
And what is going on, Windy City Sports Talk fans? It's your boy, Brandon Combs, along with my guy, Ryan Fitzgibbons. Ryan. Yeah, that sounds about right. Before we get to it, though, if you have any problems with listening to the show, watching the show, or if you just missed some of the show, you can catch us on all podcast platforms, including Spotify, Pandora, Amazon Music, anywhere that you can catch podcasts. I'm also trying to get us on Twitch at some point as well. Speaking of Twitch, tomorrow is my debut on the radio. With the show we are going to call The Truth About Chicago Sports on WIMS radio here in Chicago. It's also going to be available on Twitch, so stay tuned for that. Make sure you guys stay tuned to the Facebook pages, my Facebook page, the show's Facebook page. I'll definitely share out that Twitch stream once we get to it. That way you guys can chime in. Give me some love on the radio. We can talk about anything you guys want to talk about as well there, just like we do here. And if you have any questions for us at all, if you want to talk to me and Ryan after the show for whatever reason that might be, you can catch us on Gmail. You can email us at Combs and Fitz, all one word, Combs and Fitz at gmail.com. Fitzy, man.
As soon as I put this hot poker in my ass, I'm going to chop my dick off.
Yeah, sounds about right. Sounds about right. I don't know. I don't even know where to start with this football team, man. I don't know where to start with this debacle that we are seeing at the lakefront. And it almost seems like the coaching staff doesn't know what to do about this debacle that we're seeing at Soldier Field. And I like the answers to some of these questions are mind-boggling to me. Make it make sense, Fitzy.
Well, I'm just going to say a little something personal first. I had my anniversary recently, so I'm flying back during the game. So I didn't get to see a lot of the game. So I had to rewatch the game. And did you ever hear the story of when Brett Favre was addicted to Vicodin? And he was at like some banquet and he kept trying to put the Vicodin in and puking it back up and then putting it in again. I don't know how that is, but I feel like that's like rewatching that football game again. I mean,
it's
and you look stupid when we get happy about, oh, this looks good. He's throwing anticipatory passes. They're building the offense around Justin Fields like they have to do every single player in the league except for maybe one.
Yeah.
Maybe even the Chiefs offense is built around Patrick Mahomes' skills and getting him lathered up, getting him started. We talked about that before, how they do bootlegs with him to give him half the field. Andy Reid talks about it all the time. So we got to have, oh my God, this offense looks great. They've put him 68 points in 2 games, and Justin Fields leading the league, second in touchdowns, all that. And then
false start, offense, the entire offensive line.
Yeah.
I mean, they make, well, it's not a hard job to do, but they make me look dumb. It's not that like I thought, oh, this season's going to turn around. I mean, they didn't have the pieces this year anyway, but you look at a schedule that was getting a little easier and now they're 1-5. That's it. Now we have 3 months of sitting around and then the end of the season and maybe we become Dolphins fans. I've never had any doubt the Dolphins were going to win that game, even down 14-0 the Carolina Panthers. That thing is stinky.
And now 42 unanswered points.
You wait for another draft. That's what we cheer for in Chicago now, drafts.
Yeah, and see, and we're definitely going to get into that because I've had my go around with people on Facebook. All these Bears fans, they're going to draft a quarterback. They need to go out and get Caleb Williams. Let's think about this from a logical standpoint, right? Let's think about this from a standpoint of people with half of a brain. If you have an organization that has shown over the course of time through this ownership group that has been in charge since 1983 to not be able to develop a quarterback, to not be able to hire anybody that can develop a quarterback, to not be able to hire anybody that can make your team relevant. And then when you finally get it right on a luck of a chance, you fire them after a 10-6 season. But why would you want them to go and draft another quarterback? They're not going to do anything with them. They're going to ruin another one. And I heard another asinine statement the other day on ESPN 1000 where they said they should use the number 1 and number 2 picks, both on quarterbacks, take the 2 best quarterbacks in the draft, and then decide which one they want to stick with and trade the other one by the end of the preseason.
You're not going to get a 3 technique or a good tackle.
No, just draft 2 quarterbacks and we'll stick with the best one. And I'm like, so we can ruin 2 careers at the same time?
You're taking questionably the best draft capital in 40 years, 50. I don't know. We'd have to go back in the draft. You're talking about the most draft possibly the most draft capital in the last. We'd have to go back and look.
Yeah.
But I mean, maybe since Butkus and Sayers were taken 3-4. I mean, I don't know what teams have had that top 5 picks in the draft, but it looks like the Bears are probably going to have that. And you're going to take 2 fucking quarterbacks.
Yeah, it's just an asinine statement. But anybody to want a quarterback to come to this organization, it makes no sense. If you're not going to stick it out with Justin Fields and get a relevant coaching staff in here that can produce a game plan to Justin's strengths, if you're not going to go get an offensive coordinator that's not such a chicken shit that he's going to go out there and run screen pass after screen pass after screen pass, run play after run play, 3rd and 8 yesterday, running the ball on 3rd and 8 up the gut.
Why not?
Down by 8 points. What are we doing? And if you're not going to stick it out with Justin Fields, then you need to go get a relevant veteran quarterback to come on in here. The fact that you're going to go and try and draft another quarterback in a system, in a culture that has shown time after time that all they do is ruin quarterbacks is such a bad idea. That is beyond comprehension that people who actually say that they're fans of football say that they're football fans say that that is actually a good idea because it's stupid. And at this point, if I'm any player in college and I see the Bears have 1 and 2, I'm going back to college. I'm shitting my way back in.
I can't wait. I'm not going to take the millions of dollars. I'm going to go back to college.
Yeah. And if I don't have an extra year of eligibility, I'm just not entering the draft. I'll go bag groceries somewhere until somebody else picks me up.
Yeah. I mean, John checks in, says sell the team, which I guess is, if the ownership of the organization doesn't change, the Bears will never change, period. Terrible at the top. And he's got a great point. I mean, the same thing keeps happening over and over again. How do you see the same thing over and over again and say that it's coaching or say that it's this quarterback, it's Mitch Trubisky, it's Jay Cutler, it's Rex Grossman, it's Kyle Orton, it's Nick Foles, it's Andy Dalton, whatever you want to call it. Like, it isn't it the organization at one point?
Yeah. And like Jeremiah says, on 2 of the turnovers, the O lineman picked up the blitzing linebacker and left the running back with a D lineman. Play error, yes, but it speaks to coaching. 110% it speaks to coaching. Another thing that speaks to coaching is the answer that you got from Ryan Pace yesterday after. And this made me like, if there was something in front of me, I would have kicked it. If it was a puppy, if it was a kitten, I would have kicked it. Because Luke Getsy's answer to why they didn't target DJ more often was because we're not going to be a one-man show. Well, guess what, Luke Getsy?
On bread.
Well, guess what, Luke Getsy? We are a one-man show. You have one weapon for Justin Fields. One. And you don't even utilize him correctly to make the other guys appear to be weapons. There were a couple plays yesterday that looked great. That looked great. The pass to Mooney, having Mooney ended the game, having Velas Jones run the freaking out of the backfield because you're down so much with running backs was great. The idea that we started the first series, we're down to 2 running backs, Deontay Foreman and this dude Evans, who we picked up 5 days before the game. And starting in the backfield on the first series is the kid that we picked up 5 days ago. Not even Deontay Foreman.
Who's better with the team that they got?
Maybe you're going in to give you unscouted looks. Maybe they're trying to give him unscouted looks. Maybe that's your thing. But they're not smart enough to make me believe that.
Well, he's trying to act like he's too smart for everybody else. Luke Getsy, like with earlier in the year when he said, well, if a couple of things happen, that's a 15, 25-yard play, and you guys are all, cheering for me. And it's like, yeah, those things happen, but you have no attention to detail. So those things never happen. There's so many things that could go wrong on a play, and you're bad at so many different things. Downey Thomas doing a victory lap. How do you like me now?
Well, you have a Lions logo, so
check out the big brain.
Oh, Brad. Thanks, Samuel. Unbelievable.
Junior says, not about the quarterback thing, but the being pissed at my team part. He says I sound like him right now. He's a Patriots fan. He's pretty upset with the Patriots right now.
Ooh.
Yeah, but at least they've had 7 Super Bowls in the last 20 years.
Yes, they do have that.
Yeah. I always like when like fans of teams that are successful try to say, "Oh yeah, I feel your pain." No, you don't. No, you have no idea what my pain is at this level. You have no idea what I've been through with Chicago sports when your damn city has been to championship after championship since 2000.
See how old this newspaper looks behind me? I mean, it's great.
It's so old that it's on a newspaper.
They don't even make newspapers like this anymore.
No.
That's the last time they won.
Yeah. Yeah. And the last time that they won, they did something called the Super Bowl Shuffle. Like
look at
15 winning seasons in 40 years of ownership. You've got to stop and be realistic with yourself, Bears fans. You've got to stop and think about where you're at with your franchise's history. You can blame Ryan Poles if you want to. You can blame Luke Getsy if you want to. You can blame Matt Eberflus if you want to. Those 2 guys should have never been given a job in the first place. Those guys were, and Ryan Poles was forced to hire those guys. And people that say, "Oh, well, he was handpicked by Poles," stop. There's no way he did a conducive head coaching search when Matt Eberflus was hired 2 days afterwards. There's no way that Ryan Poles came from working with Eric Bieniemy for 6+ years to come over and bypass Eric Bieniemy without even giving him an interview. That wouldn't be a thing.
I mean, Luke Getsy would be a lot better if he had a top 5 quarterback in the history of the game playing for him. It's like it's Mike Martz, it's John Shoup, it's whoever you want to put in there all over again. I mean, Mike Martz probably better than that group. He winning a Super Bowl and going to one as a head coach, but Tell the Pats to stay away from our number one pick.
Here's the thing, Jeremiah, and this is why I pulled up this comment. He says, tell the Pats to stay away from our number one pick. Here's the thing. Here's what would happen. Because we're Bears fans. The Patriots would get the number one pick, and we would actually trade up. We would trade up to get the number one pick, even though we have 2 and 3. And then what we would do is we would draft another quarterback while the Patriots go and get Marvin Harrison Jr. or a 3 technique. And then with the 3rd pick, we'd probably draft that second quarterback.
Yeah.
Like, that's just what the Bears do. I'm so beyond done with this football franchise right now. Like, look, I'm always going to be a Bears fan. I'm always going to watch. I'm always going to cheer for them. But I'm just done with this organization. I'm not buying any more jerseys. I'm not buying any more hats.
I don't believe you for a second.
I'm not buying. I'm telling you right now, I'm not buying any more tickets.
I hope they take returns for that Bajan jersey you bought on Sunday.
I most definitely did not buy a Bajan jersey.
In the beginning of the 4th quarter.
Well, after watching Tyson Bagent on Sunday for a Division II quarterback last year. Now, granted, he did set all sorts of records in Division II. He holds a whole bunch of records after leaving. But after watching him and watching him go into the NFL and watching what he was able to do yesterday, yes, he made a lot of rookie mistakes. Yes, he looked nervous as hell. His first pass in the NFL was a completion. Scored his first touchdown yesterday. He looked serviceable as a backup. He looked like me. Would you have rather seen that, or would you rather have seen Nathan Peterman?
I'd rather see that because at least we know Nathan Peterman, who has thrown the football backwards in the NFL. We've seen what he's all about. I just don't like the Bagent mania because this organization twists our brains into pretzels so bad that we do have Bagent mania. Everybody, we've been saying it for 20, 30 years now. The backup quarterback is the savior. He comes in, he's going to be great. He throws one of the worst interceptions you'll ever see. I mean, why they're putting this guy in a position that he doesn't deserve. Bagent, he deserves a better situation if he is going to be a serviceable to good quarterback. I think he's got a low ceiling though, but as long as LB Pat checks in, as long as people still go to the game, owners don't care. And people
and that's why we've been saying, LB, is they've got to change. I mean, until ownership sells, this isn't going to change. Until we have a new ownership group, nothing is going to change. And it's going to continue to be more the same, much like it is for White Sox fans, much like it was for Blackhawks fans in the late 90s, early 2000s, much like it was for the Cubs fans before 2013, and much like it is for Bulls fans right now. In this city, that's a shame, man.
It really is. I mean, it's a very good sports town, and I've made the joke again and again. But I turned to my wife. I'm like, who doesn't know a lot about sports? Like, we start this podcast, and there's no good teams. I mean, I guess the Cubs did okay, but we're talking a team that is 92, 94, whatever % to make the playoffs, and they drop out. We think the Sox are going to win 90 games. They lose 100.
Right.
I mean, it's a tough town to be a sports fan, and it really is. I mean, not a lot of championships, and it's not even that. I mean, we have had some championships. We did get, the Bulls. Both of our, Blackhawks have won, had what I call a dynasty, but in between there hasn't been a whole lot of good teams. It's not like somebody's gone on a 10-year streak like the Atlanta Braves did or like the Yankees do. I mean, this is the first time the Yankees or the Red Sox haven't been in the playoffs in 25 years or something like that.
Jeremiah Murray says going to the game doesn't even matter anymore. Every owner gets a $300 million check before the season.
Jesus.
I don't even know that.
If it's printing money, I mean, why would they sell the team if they're printing money?
It's true.
I mean, why?
Wait, so I don't know did you hear Matt Eberflus's press conference yesterday after the game?
I saw, like I said before the show, I saw little parts, but
so
I know you have stuff you want to play. So
he's a liar. First and foremost, the guy is an absolute bullshit, and he doesn't.
He's not good.
Actually. Part of it doesn't. I don't believe that he's lying. I just don't believe he understands or he knows where he's at. I believe he's so far in over his head. It's crazy. So here's the first thing that I want to react to. And I want you to react to it as well, because I want you to tell me what you think about what he says here.
Okay, first of all, I want to thank the fans. You know, they really did a great job. We really noticed it on defense. I know the defensive players were talking about it, you know, on third downs, getting loud, and made it hard for the Vikings offense today. So I really want to appreciate and thank them for that.
So we want to thank the fans for being loud today. Well, what you didn't thank them for was the constant booing over the play calling, because that's when they were at their loudest. The constant booing of running the ball straight up the middle on 3rd and 8. The constant booing of, there was one point where we ran a screen pass to the right and it got blown up by DJ Moore. So the very next play, we ran a screen play to the left. And then that one got blown up. Oh, I can't imagine why it didn't work. Because they know it's coming. What are we doing with this football team?
Now that you're on the fans, though, I mean, I go back to LB Pat's comment. Like, as long as we keep going to the games and we just get shut, and we'll just take whatever they give us. And we'll keep being fans. The bars will keep being packed with Bears fans. The stadium, around the stadium, will keep being packed over and over again with fans of this team that want to watch this team and want to watch. They're not going to innovate. They're not going to take chances until at some point their feet are put to the fire. They finally got pissed a few years ago when Soldier Field was half full. Well, it's going to be half full this year because we're going to be sitting around for 3 months picking our ass. It's going to get pretty boring around here. Fitz gibberish is going to be pretty boring.
Yeah.
So, I mean, what the hell are we going to talk about? Oh, the Bulls are trying to become a 3-point offense. No, here we go. Where go Bulls?
All right. Well, here's the next thing I want to react to is DJ Moore and his lack of usage. Here's Matt Eberflus on that.
DJ Moore had only one target in the first half after such a big week last week. How does that happen?
Yeah, obviously we got to look at that. That's not what we want. We want to target him. We want to be able to look, obviously feature him. And I think he had 8 at the end total and 5 catches. But again, we certainly want to target our skill. No question about it.
I'll let you go first.
Target our skill. Who's skill? What are you talking about? It's the first half of the game. You want to come out. You're at home. You want to come out and get a lead for the crowd. And you get the one target. And yeah, I know Justin missed him. I know he missed him on that one play. He definitely did. Granted, he was under attack, but you did miss him. But yeah, what is it? Oh yeah, we have to look at that. I'm sick of hearing that. We have to look at what? You were not ready to play. You had 11 days or whatever it is, 10 days, and you're not ready to play the game against a team that is terrible, against a quarterback that is getting old. They don't even have any real receivers left. They're just throwing to a tight end every time, and Addison every once in a while. They had nobody else. Justin Jefferson's the best player on their team by far.
Last week, DJ Moore had 230 yards receiving and 3 touchdowns. Don't you think that should have been the game plan from the start? Like, what do you mean you have to look at that? Shouldn't you have looked at that when you were putting it? Or were you not a part of the game plan getting put together, Eberflus? Were you not there when you guys were putting together game plan? Are you not involved in the offense whatsoever? You're the head coach. If you're listening to Luke Getsy's game plan, don't you say, hey, are we going to get this guy into the game? He had 230 yards receiving and 3 touchdowns. Shouldn't we get that? Jeremiah Murray says, I look at my shit after I take one too. Yeah. It boggles my mind. And when you keep bringing this guy up, it made me more mad as it went on. And it was crazy. So here is a question that I've been wanting somebody to ask Eberflus, and somebody finally asked him it.
What's your identity now, especially now that Justin Fields is out? What's your identity, and is it going to have to change now that that Bagent is going to be number one?
Yeah, again, we'll see where Justin is. We'll see where it is. Like I said, the X-ray was negative. We'll see where he is going forward. But again, we're going to have to really do a great job of evaluating that, where it is, and putting our guys in position to make plays. And that's what our job is as coaches. So in terms of the identity of it, we're going to have to look hard and see how we can get the ball down the field, score points.
Our identity is to get the ball down the field and score points. He was asked about the identity of the team, and he spent 25 seconds answering about getting Justin Fields ready to play, and 5 seconds about the identity of the team, where the answer was, we've got to move the ball downfield and score points.
The John Madden answer, I've played Tecmo Super Bowl once and don't know. My engineer at work who doesn't know how football is played answer. They need to score more points. He never says, and a lot of coaches do this, but it's always like this roundabout answer where he never says anything. Do we have another clip? Because this is... I don't like to be this person. I really don't. Like, screw it, it's the coach, whatever. I don't know what's happening behind closed doors, but he seems like an idiot.
Oh yeah, we've got more clips. Here we go.
What do you see out of Deontay Foreman and Darrington Evans coming in both from Cole? What do you say about that?
Yeah, I thought we ran the ball well. In terms of running efficiency, it was good. Obviously, when he fumbled that one ball, I told him, hey, that's just one time. I said, you got lucky on that one. And I told him, hey, you just got to make sure you secure it the rest of the way, and he did. I love the way he got down north and south. He really did a nice job with that. He created a lot of those momentum plays for that drive at the end that we had, and really good. And then Evans, obviously we're lucky to have him last year. So he was be able to put in the mix in a short notice and be able to operate. So both guys did well.
Did this guy watch the football game that he was coaching?
So
we ran the ball well.
He is so underwater.
We ran the ball well. When Deontay Foreman was your leading rushers with 15 carries and 65 yards. We ran the ball well. And we're lucky to have Evans. We're lucky to have Evans, who was a guy who ran the ball 9 times for 32 yards. And Velus Jones, hell, maybe he ran the ball well. He had 2 carries for 15 yards, and his longest run was 17. What are we talking about?
And every
I keep saying this. What are we talking about?
He only comes in when they give him the ball too, so there's no deception at all. It's just like, oh, Velus Jones is in. They're gonna go with this wide receiver screen. It's like there's notice, and it's always like, oh, we're gonna trick them with this play. They're never gonna get that. We're gonna do a draw play on 3rd and 8 when we've been doing it for 40 years.
Yes,
it's always happens, and then it's a cloud of dust in 1.5 yards. I mean, and for Luke Getsy, I mean, this guy, head coach is.
John Fitzgibbon says head coaches are like politicians. They bounce around questions and they lie all the time. Fuck Eberfluckhead.
I like that, Eberfluckhead.
I mean, that's kind of a great new name for this guy. But I don't understand, like, how you can just, like, do you think that fans are listening to this and they're believing what you're saying? And you look like you're clearly believing what you're saying.
And it's not only that, Combs. It's more than that. I mean, didn't Poles not do a very good job this season too, with all the salary cap, all the draft picks, everything? Darnell Wright did not have a good game.
No,
he did not have a good game, and he's had some questionable moments. I think on whole he's been good, but he's not the guy that he was built to be. And if he's an average right tackle, you got an average right tackle at the 10th spot in the draft and didn't draft Jalen Carter. I mean, that's not good. So, like, Ryan Poles can sit down Eberfluckhead and Luke Getsy and say, what the fuck? But then after that, they have to look at him and be like, what the fuck? Chase Claypool? What the fuck? 80-something million on defense? What the fuck?
Do you blame them for not drafting what's his face out of Georgia? Jalen Carter. You blame them for that? I mean, the guy had legal problems. He had a warrant out for his arrest at the draft. He showed up to his pro day so out of shape that he couldn't finish his pro day. Do you blame them for not drafting that guy?
It's hard for me on the other side of this to trust them now with all the bad things that Poles has done, which I thought were actually good at the time. So I can't go back there. And I've always been on the side where if they know there's a character problem here and this kid is not going to last in this league or whatever, and who knows, Jalen Carter could be a 1.5-year player who just, hasn't more troubles with the law. You never know. But if they're really saying that his personality and the actual person they didn't trust, I'm all for that, because I think that is definitely the future of drafting. I mean, look what the Cubs were able to do. They had that questionnaire. I mean, I think the Astros do it now. I think all teams do it now, where they have a questionnaire that could trick the player into showing him who he really is. Somewhat. Nothing's foolproof.
But do you believe if Jalen Carter came to the Bears, that he would be doing what he's doing with the Eagles? Or do the Eagles have the right set of leadership around him that have allowed him to be successful and have sort of grounded him from where he was at Georgia?
Well, that's he was going to come here to the worst defense in the league. He went to the best defense in the league. So yeah, I mean, he obviously had a soft landing spot and he probably needed that. Yeah. But it's hard to say right now that was the right decision talent-wise for your team. I mean, you brought Chase Claypool in. And no, Jalen Carter.
False start. Offense. The entire offensive line.
I mean, you brought Chase Claypool in, who there was already talks about his issues, not off the field, granted. When it comes to the guy, though, and if they were that vehement about it, I think I got to go with them on it, because they would know more about that than me at this point. But so I heard after the trade to see this Darnell Wright getting pushed around and Jalen Carter doing this well.
I posted on our show page that Luke Getsy is the most chicken shit offensive coordinator in the league. And it was because of his play calling when Tyson Bagent came in. And instead of just because you're down by 2 scores when he comes into the game, and instead of throwing the ball, you're running the ball on 1st and 2nd down, you're running the ball on 3rd and long, you're not putting the ball in the kid's hands. So I'm like, if you weren't going to be comfortable with this kid, why do you even have him in the game? Or is your play calling just that atrocious? And then we got this answer from Matt Eberflus.
A couple weeks ago to make Bagent the number 2 and make the emergency. What went into that? And for a guy who's never taken an NFL snap to be thrown into it, is that something you guys were comfortable with compared to Nathan?
Yeah, we were comfortable with it, and that's why we made the decision. So it's really he created that opportunity during practice.
He created that opportunity during practice, and yes, we were very comfortable with him. If you were so comfortable with him, why did it look like you were so uncomfortable with him?
Yeah, didn't him and Luke Getsy have a great relationship at the Senior Bowl last year, and everything was going to work out and be great and all that stuff? And then, yeah, I mean, you're down. That's where it boggles my mind. When the chips are down, when you're already losing, when you have really nothing, you can't get any worse. You might as well go for it, and they still don't go for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, go on.
And even on the field, like you watch Matt Eberflus, and you're like, guy, what? Like, are you going to have any input here? Like, I'm just waiting for him to do like the same way we wait for Justin Field. Like, sometimes we're just like, throw the ball. Whatever you got to do, just throw. I don't care where you throw it, just throw it. Throw an interception, for God's sake. Show me that you're alive. It's the same thing with Matt Eberflus. Show me some fire. Yesterday they had a fumble that was overturned, that was clearly a fumble recovery before his foot went out of bounds. Even they always have an official on the telecast. Even he said, yeah, it's going to be a clear fumble recovery, should be a no-brainer. And then they overturned it and said he was out of bounds, which was beyond me. Lose your mind right then. Get a 15-yard penalty, get a personal foul, do whatever you got to do to show that you have some football sense in you. Instead, you say this.
To me that TJ was able to secure that fumble on the sideline. Obviously, they overturned it. They give you further explanation for why they chose to overturn the initial call.
Yeah, I mean, in a game like today, there's not a bunch of cameras out here, so there's not a bunch of looks. And then when they do overturn the call on the field, there must be a pretty good evidence to say it's clear and obvious for that. So that's where it was, and they just said it was clear and obvious that he was not inbound. So.
Well, they said it, so it's got to be true. It's on the internet. It's got to be true. We don't have a lot of cameras because it's 2 1-4 teams, and nobody really cares about us. So we'll just take it up the ass and let you guys keep calling bad calls on us.
I don't think he could see. He always has to look at things again. I have to look at it again. You got a quarterback.
Get the man glasses.
You got a quarterback that is getting pile drived into the ground, who's getting helmet-to-helmet hits weekly. He had another one this week. I mean, I think I have it up. I could show it just very quickly. It's a 2-second video, but I mean, he had another one this week where it's unbelievable. Oh, and it's got to go green. Helmet-to-helmet hit. Helmet-to-helmet hit.
Yeah. Well, look,
that's not called. Maybe if he's yelling a little bit more, maybe they get those calls. Like, don't they talk to the refs before the game and say, "Hey, look out for this, look out for that"? Is he saying that?
It probably not, because the guy is clueless. I do not believe that this guy is a brilliant football mind as he was portrayed to be. And especially a brilliant defensive football mind, because I watch his defensive football game scheme, and I'm telling you right now, you or I could do a better job at running a defense than he can. And you've got to say something. You've got to put some life into your team. Let them know you have their back. You think when baseball managers get ejected on clear and obvious calls, that they get ejected just because they believe the call was incorrect?
No, they want to get the blood pumping, or just get somebody thinking about something else other than the team being bad.
They want to show their guys that they have their back, even if their guy is clearly wrong. They treat them like they're their wives. Even if they're wrong in public, they're going to have their back, and then they're going to talk to them about it in the clubhouse. And they lose their mind, because a player needs to know that you have their back. And football's no different. You think these guys are buying into what Luke Getsy is or Matt Eberflus is selling? Absolutely not.
No.
Brandon Combs Jr. says this guy has the IQ of Patrick Starr. It's a great comment.
I mean, he certainly doesn't show the ability, and Joe Madden used to say something that I always thought was pretty smart, is most of the coaching happens after 10 o'clock or before 7 o'clock, meaning most of the coaching happens not in game. Now, NFL is totally different. There's a lot of things you have to do in game in the NFL that you just don't have to in baseball, but it still stands to reason. There's things you have to do outside of those 3 or 4 hours of the game, like prepare your damn team when you have 11 damn days. Like, what in the hell? They were unprepared totally. For a team that you said in the beginning of the show, we knew we're going to blitz. They blitz more than any other team. You want to know why? Because their team is crap. Because their team is absolute dog shit.
6 guys in the box all day long, and we did nothing.
Yeah, you can't come and you know what they were doing against Denver, and they did it a little bit against Washington. Actually, probably a lot more than a little bit. Where they came with max protect.
Yeah.
They had like 2 tight ends in, or one time Mercedes Lewis would come in and they'd have a running back. Why not? Why not? Why not double team Danielle fucking Hunter? Like the only guy that could screw up your fucking game.
And then the game plan, especially once you're already down, and now you're coming back because your second string quarterback, who was a Division II football player last year, brought you back into the game, right? He scored his first touchdown, and then he's leading you back. And now all of a sudden they're playing off you. Now instead of playing 6 in the box, they're finally playing 3 deep. So instead of throwing short passes or throwing the screens that you need to do to move the ball downfield, you decide to throw it deep and then get mad at the kid for throwing an interception. Like, they're playing 3 deep. Everybody's back there. And now you don't want to run the ball to move the ball downfield. You don't want to throw short passes to move the ball downfield to get into position.
You got 2 competent tight ends, at least competent. I think Komet's a very good player. When they're playing 3 deep like that, just sit them in the zone.
Yeah,
pick them all day.
It's unbelievable watching this team. It's so poorly coached. It's poorly played. Everything that they do from the top down right now with the Chicago Bears is just poorly played. And I'm so tired of talking about Matt Eberflus. Let's talk about something that we haven't even touched on yet this year. How absolutely horrid is NFL officiating league wide? It's not just a problem with the Bears, because I've seen lots of calls go against the Bears. I've seen lots of calls that they've gotten away with. But it is so bad league wide.
Remember when they brought in like the second string refs?
Yeah.
It's like they never went back to the refs.
They still have replacement refs.
It seems like it's been bad since then. I don't know if I would just look at it more, probably that, but the and no one really wants to talk about it. Yeah, they can't even snap the ball properly. I can't believe we didn't get to that point.
He answered that question too. And he said that he wasn't they didn't take him out because of his poor snapping. They took him out because they wanted a guy who's been doing center more with Tyson Bagent in the game.
He's a liar.
If he was there for long, if he was a center for longer, which he hasn't been, that's a first false statement that he says in that statement, because he hasn't been. Lucas Patrick hasn't been in the league as long as
Cody Whitehair.
Cody Whitehair
was your starting center to start the season in the offseason. He's your starting center, and he can't do the most basic thing. And really, at some point in the game, can't Justin Fields come off center? No more shotgun for a little while. Can't we do that? Maybe have some deception on whether you're going to run or not.
Yeah.
I don't know if a lot of these teams are worried about you running from the shotgun either. But after a while, don't you have to do that? Brandon Jones, refereeing in the NFL is fixed.
We'll get to that too.
Tinfoil hat on.
But you do have to at some point you've like, think about it logically. If you're telling me Lucas Patrick was the best center on your team and he was available to play, why didn't he start the game? Why did he have to wait for Tyson Bagent to come in the game? If you're telling me he's your most veteran center, he's your best center. So we wanted Tyson to be in there with our best guy, but fuck JF1.
They don't know what they're talking about. That sounds like somebody who has no idea what the hell he's talking about.
Joshua CV chimes in, who is a Minnesota Vikings fan, who is absolutely adamant that they need to tank to get the number 1 pick, and was very upset that they won that game yesterday. He was actually tweeting or Facebook messaging me and telling me that the Bears need to make better play calls. And then once they lost, he said that Ryan Poles is shit and the coaching staff of the Bears needs to be fired, which I agree with you on half of that. Coaching staff does need to be fired, but he's a Vikings fan. He's not happy that they won last night.
Well, how about instead of a number 1 pick, how about Tyson Bagent?
Well,
you can have him.
Joshua, you can feel better about this. I do believe by week 8, Kirk Cousins is going to be in New York, and you're going to have to deal with Zach Wilson for the rest of the year.
Ooh, wow.
So you'll probably lose a lot of games after that happens. Shanna says the NFL is rigged. They own the referees. So let's get back to the referees because I've said this before, and I've been actually looking into this for the last 6+ years.
Get the tinfoil hat out.
Of when you look at the calls that are at, like last night, the Giants game, right? And I believe Jeremiah says Darren Waller had a guy hanging off him like a Christmas tree ornament on the last play of the game last night, and it didn't draw a flag. Now that was also on an untimed down, Jeremiah, on an untimed down in the fourth quarter after they had already thrown a pass interference flag. Should it have been thrown again? Because I would say yes, because if that first one was pass interference, that second one was even worse, pass interference that they didn't call. But look at the numbers. Look at Vegas. When you see calls late in a game that are called where you're like, what the hell was he calling? Look at where the numbers are. Where's the money at? Is it on the team that it was called against? +7? Is it on them -3? Where does the money lie in Vegas? Because when you start looking at that stuff, when you start looking at it like that, your mind's going to start churning a little bit, because those flags or non-flags, they tend to follow the money. So there might be something too, and I know you're talking about tinfoil hats right now, or you're going to talk about tinfoil hat. There you go. There's a tinfoil hat. There is a little something to it. And I, at some point, because of how bad it really is, how sporadic it really is. When you look at one call and you're like, wow, that was really, really bad. And it doesn't get called. And then 2 or 3 plays later, you get another one that gets called that you're like, where the hell was the penalty at? There's something to that.
It's not like there's no precedent. It happened in basketball. It could happen in football.
Yeah. And it's a lot easier to control the referees than it is to control players and coaches whose jobs are on the line.
Although the Cleveland Browns parted like the Red Sea in the game against San Fran, but their San Fran's kicker wasn't cooperating with that. But I mean, San Fran was never going to cover the spread anyway.
Yeah.
But
you also can't control whether or not a player misses, or you know what I mean. That's what I'm saying. It's a lot easier to control the referees.
Yep. And hey, watch the points if you can. I mean, it's not like they're always going to do it, but if you can, give us a little, Saints Rams, where the guy gets shoved on the Saints. They're supposed to be in the Super Bowl, and they're not.
God, yeah. That was probably the
worst non-call ever.
Flagrant non-call of all time. And you know what made it worse was that the Rams player afterwards said, "Yeah, I was trying to foul him. I knew he was going to catch the ball, so I was trying to interfere with him. I'd rather take my chance on the next play."
Yeah, exactly, which is what he should do there. Maybe the field goal doesn't get made by the Saints or whatever. Yeah. They don't get a touchdown. Like, a lot of things can happen on a snap or whatever.
Yeah. Brandon Combs Jr. says, there's no way the refs don't bet on the game. I see that. I don't believe. I don't believe because that would get tracked. There's too many eyes that would get tracked. If they're going to do this the right way, maybe, and Vegas wants to do it the right way, you talk to them and be like, hey, look, there's going to be a check for you at the end of the season. It's going to be substantial. We're going to send you a text before the game that you're officiating. We're going to tell you what we need if you can control it. Sometimes games get out of hand. There was no way in the Dolphins-Broncos game you were going to get any sort of the spread covered, so that game just got out of control, so call it down the middle. But if there's a game that's tight and this team is the money's on them +6 and they're up by 3 or they're down by 3, maybe you make a call.
Yeah, I mean, why? I could believe it. I could definitely believe it, depending on which team is getting more of the bets, which team isn't. I mean, sometimes it's 60-40, and then, Vegas is going to lose a lot of money.
Joshua says there was a pretty bad non-call at the end of the Viking. Yeah, that holding call. Where did you see that call?
Yeah,
end of that game.
Yep.
I mean, the guy was just. Doubting Thomas says, "Oh my, X-Files now." No, the call. I mean, the guy was like he was bent in half, basically trying to get the attention of the referee that he was being held, and no call whatsoever. And There's no way that not one ref on the field saw that.
Yeah, and you know what? It's usually lopsided in Vegas for the Bears. Bears fans like to bet on their team, including Fitz over here. Ugh.
Stop betting on the Bears.
I'm not going to anymore.
It's just going to piss you off more than they already do.
Yeah, it's just so and Fields is done. Like, dislocated thumb, he can't hold the ball. Like, he's going to be out 3 or 4 weeks. They're not going to get a true evaluation. I mean, I guess they already have their evaluation. He's done in Chicago. I mean, he's a reclamation project somewhere else. Hopefully he gets a good coach and gets what he deserves, because I don't know if there's another player or another QB in the history of the NFL that got more of a raw deal than Fields.
Speaking of reclamation projects, are you ready for Fitz gibberish?
I am ready and willing. All right, my friends. It's a diatribe. It's a conspiracy. And it's an island in the middle of unapologetic. And I think we were pretty accurate today, but inaccurate sports talk. I once beer bonged a 40 of malt liquor. Say that again. I once beer bonged a 40 of malt liquor.
Oh, boy.
The force of the air pressure that was shot into my near perfect body made my nose bleed. Actually bleed. Yes, that happened. Simple math would tell you that I had bitten off more than I could chew. Notice that I've refused to do the math on whether or not I'm an alcoholic. I was reminded about that fact on Saturday night when Caleb Williams threw his third interception basically right into Notre Dame's Benjamin Morrison's outstretched arms or hands, whatever. It was not the amount of interceptions or that his team lost, mostly because of his poor play, but the nature of the interceptions. These were interceptions first-year NFL rookies make. Immature rookies at that, who need time to learn the league. Certainly not looking like a Joe Burrows or an Andrew Luck or a Patrick Mahomes. Heck, he didn't even look like a Kirk Cousins, who when he goes to Dairy Queen, orders vanilla ice cream. Hold the vanilla. Yeah, I said it. Kirk Cousins, fight me. Speaking of those Vikings, their ex-GM, Rick Spielman, was their GM from 2006 to 2021. Now CBS sports analyst, because, he had such a great track record with the Vikings, said just 1 week ago he would take Caleb Williams over John fucking Elway. Yeah, he said it. The man who gave the aforementioned Kirk Cousins, the QB that makes wearing plaid look rebellious, a giant contract. Oh, and it didn't stop there. No. John Lynch, current GM for your 49ers, and reason why they should invent a test for CTE on the living, said that Williams is a future first ballot Hall of Famer. Future first ballot Hall of Famer. Hasn't taken one snap yet. So we shouldn't blame Williams when he says it'll only take a draft from 5 teams. The Cowboys, because they've been great to quarterbacks. The Raiders, I don't know where that name comes from. The Vikings, the Giants, and never going to happen, the 49ers. Why don't we wait for him to play one damn game in the NFL? How about that, Rick and John, and the Chicago media falling all over themselves like sweaty children to get a piece of this brat? This is like the time an old friend of mine was accused of getting his girlfriend pregnant. The only problem was they never even had sex. Yeah, that happened too. It also should remind everyone that after 3 games, the Packers were seen to have another Hall of Fame QB, even though there were glaring issues with Jordan Love, and they played nobody yet. You don't throw 3 picks against the Raiders and get a free pass, Love. Sorry, kid, but you're not Aaron Rodgers. You're not Favre. Heck, you're not even Don Majkowski. And who wins in all of this? You probably didn't get it, but the hapless Bears, who, if there was any justice in the world, would be sued by Fields for malpractice, and the McCaskies would get the team ripped from them like a Dick Butkus strip sack. Another guy, Dick Butkus, who should have sued for never making the playoffs as a Bear with the two best players in the league on your team. The Bears are sitting back with two very high first-round picks in the draft saying, look at us. We're going to be good after rebuilding for 40 years. Because that's what people care about now, the draft. But after the draft, guess what happens? The newness will wear off, and I'll be looking in Combs' face, and whoever they draft, they'll ruin them. Just like Fields, as Combs stated earlier in the show. But after the draft, yeah, all that will be left is the Bears doing bad Bears things, making decisions that are not complementary together, and pumping Virginia McCaskey with so much anti-aging drugs, she'll outlive Combs by 50 years. You know what? Go Panthers. Come on, Bryce Young. Give Saban a call if you have to and rip off 5 to 6 wins in a row. Come on, Fields or Nathan Peterman's brother, Tyson Bagent. Mania. Rip off 4 wins. That should be enough to set this organization back a few years. Combs.
Look, I am not a fan of Caleb Williams.
Points for the conclusion of this first half. Williams pressured, retreats, and now he throws another interception. It's Benjamin Morrison who rises.
Triple coverage.
Look,
that's a rookie NFL.
Yeah. It was funny because I was listening to you talk about how he's been talked about and how he's a first ballot Hall of Famer and how he's going to be this guy who's better than Elway, better than this guy, better than that guy. So while you were finishing your Fitz gibberish, I came up with a couple of scouting reports for you. I want you to tell me who this guy is. We're going to play a game. On the field, he has grown each season, and there's no reason to see him stopping now. As a passer, he's accurate and efficient, and there is no throw he cannot make. He's a pocket passer, but has the athleticism and mobility to elude the rush to run for yardage when the opportunity presents itself. He is a surefire pick. Who do you think that is?
Well, it sounds like Caleb Williams.
No, it's Jamarcus Russell.
Oh,
it was Jamarcus Russell. Here's another one for you, and this one will be easier for you to figure out. This guy has an eidetic memory. He's different. He is a beast, and he is surely better than Peyton Manning in this draft. I would take him, no doubt.
Oh, Ryan Leaf.
Ryan Leaf it is.
Oh my God, I couldn't remember his name. So I gave myself some time with the drum roll. But
so here's another one for you. Not quite a natural football player. Going to have trouble throwing the deep ball. I don't think that this guy is going to make it in the NFL. This kid has more potential to be a bust than to be a starting quarterback in the league.
Drew Brees.
Nope. Peyton Manning.
Oh, boy.
So all these scouting reports, all these people that talk about these kids in college, here's the difference. And this is why I watch their games. And so when I talk about guys like Jeremiah, about Caleb Williams, it's because I've watched his game. I don't believe his game is going to translate into the NFL. I just don't. I think he's too small. I think he is closer to being Kyler Murray, to bring up a newer quarterback, than he is going to be being Patrick Mahomes. Because this kid, he's too small. He's going to get to the NFL, and he's going to do stuff that's going to get him in trouble all over the place. Now, he could land in the perfect scheme, right? He could land in the perfect place with the perfect coordinator, with the perfect coach, with the perfect team, and all signs point to yes, go get him. That's not the Bears,
no,
for one.
No,
and you've got to go with that. Like you've got to let go of all of their stuff and look at their game and be like, yes, if you do that on Sundays at a beer. When you watched Deshaun Watson play in college, you looked at that and said, man, that's a guy who's going to be able to play in the NFL.
Yeah,
if he can stay out of the massage parlors.
Yes, I thought he could definitely play. I thought that's who they were trading up for.
It should have been who they traded up for.
And I thought that's who they were trading up for. I thought it was pretty obvious.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess I see where Josh Lucas sort of was coming from in pace, but
there was no way
ready to go.
There was no way in hell in that draft anybody looked at what Patrick Mahomes did in college and said, this guy is going to be the next Tom Brady. This guy's going to go to multiple Super Bowls in his first 5 years. He was a losing quarterback at Texas Tech. There was no reason to think why he was going to come in and be a Hall of Fame football player.
He did have a cannon, though.
Yeah, great. You had a cannon. Lots of players have cannons. Mitch Trubisky had a cannon. Exactly. If Patrick Mahomes was drafted by the Chicago Bears, what the hell is he talking about? If Patrick Mahomes,
John Watson, he thought he was slippery. Turned out it was just baby oil.
True. If Deshaun Watson was drafted by the Bears, he would be a little bit better than Mitch Trubisky in his career to this point, because he would have had to go somewhere else. He would have had to become a backup, and he would have had to start all over again. He wouldn't have had a good offensive play caller. He wouldn't have had a good offensive head coach to bring him along. He wouldn't have had a veteran quarterback that he could sit behind for a year to learn under. And he wouldn't have had the dysfunction that he would have had with the Bears. This Patrick Mahomes would not be Patrick Mahomes if the Bears took him at number 2.
No, no one could have started that first Cleveland game and been any good.
No.
Please don't play the video. I know we have it loaded up, but I don't want to look at it again. No one could have. Myles Garrett, poor freaking Justin Fields' ass as a hat in that game. It was
just watch him. Watch him after he does whatever the hell he does here. This is not acceptable at any level. I mean, he thinks he's doing.
And that's what you think Patrick Mahomes could have escaped that? No. Stop it. This team, this coaching staff, it's horrid. It's horrid.
Who goes into a season 2 seasons in a row with a fifth, sixth round left tackle?
The Bears.
Who does that?
The Bears.
There is no other team I think that has ever done that. I mean, I gotta believe there's no other team that has ever done that.
There's lots of things that no other team in the history of this sport has ever done.
So the first part here, just thinking, okay, we're going to do this. This is going to be the matchup we want. Let this thing rip. Okay. I don't think so. The other part that is straight, literally LOL, is this is a corner and a corner.
They ran that play twice yesterday, by the way. I watched. They ran it twice. Once it worked. Once it was a nice completion.
Just by chance, Cole Kmet cornerback against DJ Moore.
Yeah, well, what happened was they ran the same out, and Cole Kmet was the further one out, so he couldn't block the ball from going.
The best player on your team. Let's not get him the ball.
This team is just, it's whatever. Anyway, baseball playoffs are happening. Let's talk about something that we can be happy about. Baseball playoffs are happening. Neither one of our teams are in it. So it's actually fun to watch.
Just a little bit better than Bears football.
The Rangers just beat Houston in game 2, so they're up 2-0. My World Series pick, baby. Everybody laughing at me, telling me, "Oh, they don't have enough pitching. They're not good enough. They're not gonna beat the Astros. They might not even beat the Orioles. The Orioles won 101 games."
Check out the big brain on Brad. You're a smart motherfucker. That's right.
Do you feel better now?
And the Philadelphia Phillies start their series tonight. I do feel better.
Yeah, I had Braves Tampa. I don't think that's gonna happen. I mean, unless all the other teams die. Yeah, I mean, I just hate the setup of these playoffs. A 3-game and then a 5-game series after a 162 game season is.
Do they make the 1 and 2 seeds sit too long? Is that a problem? All the 1 and 2 seeds are out.
See, I need to see numbers on that because I don't think there's any real truth to that. Maybe there is.
Well, here's the numbers on it. They have a 0% win percentage in series this year.
Yeah, I mean, but it's confirmation bias. People have that idea before the playoffs happen, and then it happens, and they got confirmation bias. I mean, we need a bigger sample size than one postseason. But I'll tell you this: a 3-game series in baseball is horse shit. They don't do it in any other sport. I mean, football, they can't have series in football. The guys would basically die. Literally.
Well, if you're going to do that format, then you got to pick up 2 more wild card teams, because then you have to have the 1 and 2 seeds would be sitting for 2.5 weeks if you went with a 7-game or 5-game series.
Yeah, I mean,
so you'd have to allow more teams in if you're going to do that.
Yeah, I mean, you can allow more teams in and then shave off a regular season that has been too long for years. And like I've said before, the collective bargaining, when they did the collective bargaining agreement, and they had to give less days off for these players the 2021 season.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it was last season. What the fuck ever. Part of this thing is owners didn't want to keep giving money to these teams that don't care if they're in the playoffs now, like your Pittsburghs or Cincinnati or whatever. They didn't want to keep giving money to them, above the luxury tax. Well, how about those teams get less regular season games now? And if they want more money, they have to get into the playoffs.
Yeah. Or how about what you do with the playoff series is you do a traditional playoff series. 1 plays 6, 2 plays 5, 3 plays 4. And then you don't have to have 2 more teams in. You could have the top seed play, and then all the division winners get to play a wild card team.
Yep. No, I'm totally with that. I think they're going that way anyway. Divisions don't play each other that much anymore. They used to play 19 games against each other. They don't. They played 10 this year.
But then, yeah, you're right. You go to a 5-game series. You go a 5-game wild card series, 7-game divisional, 7-game LCS, 7-game World Series.
That's fine with me. I mean, I even cringe a little about a 5-game series, but I'm fine with that.
Yeah, I think there is something to it, to those teams sitting for a little bit too long. Look, I had Texas in because I felt like Texas was just hitting their stride at the right time. I believe that they were just getting stronger and stronger as the season was going on, and they were missing a bunch of their pitching. Now they're getting a bunch of their pitching back in this LCS, and they're already up 2-0, and Scherzer hasn't even pitched yet. So this team is going to be good. I picked the Phillies because I just felt like the Phillies had the best combination of both. There wasn't another team in baseball that had that much good pitching combined with that much good offense. The Braves have a great offense. They don't have enough pitching to contend with the Philadelphia Phillies. So that's why I thought that the Phillies were going to go. But especially when you give a team that doesn't have that much pitching, that has that offense, to go up against a team that's playing hot coming out of a wild card round, that has that much pitching and that has that much offense, it's tough to do in the game of baseball.
Do you think Steve Stone was right and Lance Lynn should have ate more salads in the offseason? He gave up 4 home runs. He actually gave up 5 because the 1 home run was just foul, and the guy came back up to bat and hit another home run against them.
Rumor had it was that Jerry Reinsdorf called him before that game and said, "We're thinking about picking you up as a free agent." He was just so distraught. Immediately gave up 4 home runs because he thought he was back pitching for the White Sox again.
Jeremiah, historically, it's 54% the best team wins in baseball. I don't
That's
know
true.
where. I mean, this is also the same guy who wanted me to talk about Nazis again, and it's gibberish. So take it with a grain of salt.
So last week, not this week, but last week, you lost the wheel. You lost the picks. You also lost this week, but we haven't told anybody that yet. We'll tell them that on Sunday. But it's that time.
What's this? You think I don't know the law? Wasn't it me who wrote it? And I say that this man has broken the law. Right or wrong, we had a deal. And the law says, bust the deal, face the wheel.
Bust the deal and face the wheel.
It's time to face the wheel. Now, normally we would make our picks, but Fitzy was off enjoying his anniversary, getting a little brown chicken brown cow, so we couldn't do the show. So we did our picks through text. I won this week too, so he'll spin the wheel again on Sunday. We do realize that we still have a couple of punishments to do, and I promise you, this coming Sunday, tune in live, 10 a.m., because you'll get to see the punishments. You'll get to see the punishments, and they're coming. I have to get a part of my body waxed. I have to wear a cheese head for the entire show. Fitz, we still have to get you to a game so you can cheer for the other team and do a video. So you've kind of skated on that one a little bit. What was your other one?
Ice bucket.
Oh yeah, you got to do the ice bucket challenge. So we'll have 3 of the 4 this coming Sunday, and then we'll have 4 out of the 5 because it is time for you, sir, to spin that wheel. So how many times are we spinning the wheel this time? You have a choice between 1 and 3.
One. Hit me with it, Combs.
We're going 1 time.
We got to get on to Monday Night Football.
All right, here we go. For all the marbles, what is Fitz's punishment?
In that smoke wagon.
The wheel of death.
Tina Turner.
Woo, boy. Probably not as big of a punishment for you as it would be for me.
Yeah, I would have liked to have seen that.
But the wife's going to have to deal with your baby face for a week as you have to go clean shaven for a week. So on Sunday's show, Ryan Fitz, sir,
scruff.
Will be clean shaven.
Do I have to send
You're
you?
clean shaven right now, aren't you?
Yeah, I am.
See? It's not really a punishment for you. So you kind of skate. Man, that's 2 you get to skate on. What the hell?
What's the other one I get to skate on?
You're skating on the one where we got to go to a game and you got
to a hockey game.
Well, yeah, but we're going to so we're going to go to a Blackhawks game that's going to be a quarter of the way full. That nobody cares when you cheer for the other team. It would have been much more fun if we wait. You know what? No, screw this. We're waiting for baseball season next year.
We don't need to do this, Colm.
No. We're waiting for baseball season next year.
We don't need to do this. We don't have to go this way.
No, we're going this way. We're waiting for baseball season next year. And you know where we're going? We're going Cubs socks. And you're going to have Cubs gear on and you're going to cheer for the Cubs.
Not. Nope.
Hey, look, this is a pun. If I have to get a piece of my body waxed. You have to feel some pain.
False start. Offense.
I hit that button. We're going to a Sox game.
I watch the Bears play, so I've already felt quite a lot of pain. Doubting Thomas. Your punishments are to keep watching. Well, we got to watch the Bears. Fitz can't pick his own nose.
Meg says no cheating.
No.
we're going to a Sox game. That's it. Or I'll get us. No, that's too easy too. I was gonna say I'll get us tickets to a Bears game.
Yeah, let's do
But
that.
I would rather cheer for the other team right now too.
All start.
Plus, I mean, football fans are crazy, man. Bears fans were fighting each other yesterday. Did you see that?
I'm not shocked.
There was like a big brawl of Bears fans yesterday in line waiting for hot dogs.
Why can't they fight Getsy?
I don't know because it make too much sense. I don't know.
I mean, what did
one guy had a Fields jersey on and sucker punched this dude and said the comment section said that was the biggest connection Fields has had all season.
Jeremiah Combs, you hitting that ass yet? We need you to take
over. What are we talking about here?
Fucking minutes.
Virginia McCaskey.
Oh, Virginia McCaskey. Gotcha. I forgot about that comment. Yeah.
Woman of your
Not yet. I'm working on it. I am working on it. But we're going to get out of here. Let you guys enjoy some Monday Night Football, or as I'm going to do, go enjoy some Monday Night Hockey. The Blackhawks are tied 1-1 in the second with the Toronto
Check her out.
Maple Leafs and Philadelphia Phillies, Arizona Diamondbacks, game 1 tonight. I will not be watching any football tonight, just so you know.
No Chargers? Chargers Cowboys doesn't get
I need like 62 points tonight from Justin Herbert to win in my fantasy league, which I'm undefeated in right now. So I just need him to go through for a cool 500 with 4 or 5 touchdowns. So if he can do that to Dallas, that would be great.
Crazy.
I almost said Denver. I wish they were playing Denver. Then I'd have a chance. Anyway, we're going to get out of here. For all those that listened, we appreciate it. For all those that click the like, that click the share, click the subscribe.
Subscribe.
We appreciate you as well. Till next week, tell your friends.